Shall we begin?
Hello, and welcome back to the More Than Just Keto podcast. This is season 2, episode number 6. I am one of your hosts, Ashley.
Hey, y'all. I am your other host, Molly, and I'm going to tell a story. Story time. So back at the beginning of 2019, when finally I got tired of my what do they say? We get tired of your own crap. I had gotten a Fitbit for Christmas from my oldest son, and I was ready to finally start.
Year's resolutions kicking
Yes,
in.
you know, I had put
know.
on 20 pounds the year before, and I was ready to get them off. So I calculated all the, at that point I was using a what is it called? Fitness Pal. That's what it was called.
Oh, my Fitness Pal. Yep.
Yeah, because I wasn't doing keto.
Right.
And I wasn't doing low carb or anything like that. I was just going to do calorie deficit. Easy peasy, right? That's what they say. Calories in, calories out. That's all that matters. So I started calculating on the Fitness Pal. I had my Fitbit tracking all my exercise. I didn't really know what the heck I was doing. And I do believe that I was also subtracting the calories from exercise or whatever it was. It did it for me. I can't remember exactly.
With anything you have linked to it, it does pull
Yes.
out your activity.
Yeah, and it was telling me how many calories I had left I could eat. That's what it was.
It goes up as you burn more. Yeah.
So I was eating. So I was eating those. So, but it was showing me that I was in a calorie deficit. So I went from January to March, according to all of this, because I was tracking it, 3 months. I lost and gained the same 5 pounds. I stayed within a 5-pound range. Never got below one, and I never got higher. I stayed in that 5 pounds. And then I was adamant that I was doing everything right. I just knew I was doing everything right. I was tracking. But what I wasn't doing is measuring. I wasn't weighing. I was measuring. I wasn't weighing. Let me clarify. Because I would use a tablespoon or a third of a cup or half a cup or whatever the case may be. I was looking at the serving size on whatever it was.
And if it was 1 or 2 or whatever, you were going by that.
Right. And I would put it in the tracker. And of course, like I said, the exercise, that would be deducted so I could have more if I wanted. And it was showing me that it was the Fitbit, because I had finally gotten the Fitbit and I was working with that. Again, had no idea what I was doing. Didn't know that the experts suggest you do not eat the burn calories. don't eat your exercise calories.
Yeah, don't eat your exercise or activity.
Right, like you're kind of like those Fitbits and even the Apple Watch. They're not 100% accurate.
They're not.
They're showing you more calories burned than potentially you're burning. And the same with what you're tracking. It's you might not have actually done a tablespoon. And like you said before, you calculated a tablespoon and you used the scale.
Actual tablespoon, like the actual tablespoon as the measuring tool.
Right. And you did the calculation and saw that it was not the same.
And then measured, weighed the same. Like, for example, peanut butter.
Yeah.
I used the tablespoon
that's an easy one
and put it in there. And then when I actually made it, weighed it in grams, it was different.
It's so different, right? And so we have figured out
like
those
that
tools.
Is high calorie. Something like peanut butter has a lot, or nuts. They have a lot of calories.
Or
so
cheese.
Or cheese.
It adds
if you're
up.
making mistakes on those, you can easily not only eat your activity, but then be measuring wrong. You're not even in a calorie deficit.
Right. Exactly. So that's what I've concluded. But also, let me add in the weekend. I mean, I tracked during the week. I did it all right during the week. And then on the weekend, I would have my husband called it a blowout. We'd have a blowout on Sunday, but we were having a blowout every Sunday. And then on Monday, I would start again, but I wasn't starting again in my head. I was continuing on. The reality was I was starting over every Monday because I was messing everything up I had done the week. Because even if it was a little off with measurements, even if I was eating my workout calories, I can honestly 100% tell you, looking back, I was definitely ruining my progress
your progress, all your
on the weekend of whatever I did that week. It just, and instead of being in a calorie deficit, I was either in maintenance or a slight surplus, or maybe a slight deficit. Like it was just too close. And you just can't do that. And the only way to make sure you don't do that is to actually weigh your food and track it. Not just track it, not just measure it, but weigh.
Yeah.
But finally, I decided to really look at what I was doing and be honest with myself, get real with myself, and stop lying to myself that I was doing it all right when I really wasn't. And it was no wonder I wasn't having progress. And of course, then I found keto and started that March of that same year. And then the rest is history. It's been amazing. And I definitely saw results. But I also did really learn a lot. And I learned that one of the biggest things was to weigh your food. And the gram thing, I didn't start till you, I'll be honest. I didn't do the grams until you recommended it. But I definitely bought me one of those little scales and I started using that. I just learned so much with keto, so many valuable tips and information that they've really benefited me to actually have the success I was seeking those 3 months that I was not having.
Yeah. And it's funny because now I still weigh my food. There are days where, I've been doing this for a long time and I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. Would I like to lose a few more pounds? I don't think there's anybody out there who would be like, no. And so very much in that space, but also enjoying, the food that I get to eat, how much I'm able to eat. I'm enjoying like building muscle. So my journey's changed a little bit, shifted, which is normal. And I love the evolution of that. And I know that at some point it would be nice to think, wow, maybe I can get to a point where I won't have to track every day. Maybe I can just weigh, or maybe. So I've been toying with that. And I think, because I was so, let's get real about what you're eating. I was so honest with what I was consuming. I knew that I needed more accountability than just, oh, I had a serving of that. Oh, I had 2 of those when it says. And I knew that I had to make different choices than I had made before when I had done Atkins style diets or just calorie deficit diets. I wasn't weighing and I was tracking, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
So when I started looking at some of the recipes for keto, when I started really looking at serving sizes, I was seeing a lot of people in the community that were weighing their food. I was reading online, people saying that you need a kitchen scale. I didn't even have one.
Right, me neither.
And I spent the first couple months just tracking the best I could. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I do think if you're in a place where you're not seeing the results you want to see, if you are thinking that you're overeating or undereating even, because that is a thing.
Yeah.
It's so smart to get a scale because it takes all the guesswork out.
Right.
And you can measure gram, ounce, whatever, method that you want. And like you said, it just makes it an honest reflection of what you're actually consuming. And that sometimes is all you need to get the weight loss moving. It seems so simple, but tracking is a great way to make sure that you are actually doing the things that you need to do and getting in that calorie deficit. But it requires a really honest conversation with yourself. When people message me and ask, what do you recommend? I feel like I'm in a stall. I always ask, well, what does your food day look like? Are you tracking? Oh, I'm not tracking. Or, oh, I'm tracking. I'm not weighing. And I always say, put those two together and see where you are. And if you're thinking about starting keto and you're not sure, I always recommend to start tracking what you're eating even now.
Yeah.
Do you know
that will tell you a
the
lot
amount of calories that you're consuming? Do you know the types of calories you're consuming? What does your activity look like? Are you tracking any of these things? Because you can actually start there without having to make any crazy changes. And you may see that you need to change less than what you think. And that would be an amazing place to start because you're more likely making small changes to stick with something than just ditching everything.
Oh no, absolutely. That's the extreme. Right. Well, I was going to say that, like, so often I think people don't, and myself included, when I always say people, I'm sure I'm talking about myself first. Okay. Not judging everybody, judging myself and realizing it's very normal thinking, well, I don't eat that much. Can't tell you how many times I've heard people tell me that when they're gaining weight. and they'll say, but I don't even eat that much. I see people, strangers, of course, too, on social media say, I don't even eat that much, so I don't know why I'm gaining weight. I always just wonder, and I have asked, but do you even know what you're eating? Well, yeah. I'm like, but no, I mean, do you
Like,
know how many
somewhere?
calories were at that Raising Cane's that you just got?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just not even talk about carbs, which are
Right.
insane with one of those, but just the calorie intake you had. Do you know? No.
Yeah,
Do
the
you know
average
how much
fast food
your
meal is thousands. It's actually
oh,
more than your
thousands?
value,
Then I'm
one meal.
right, and then I'm like, do you even know how much you're burning in a day? I mean, even if you did nothing, like if you did nothing, do you know that number? Or are you over that? Do you do any activity? Well, I do. I walk, I walk 15 minutes a day. You're not burning that many calories. But
Yeah,
people don't
you can
know. And I'm
eat
not
fast
laughing
food
at them because
twice a
I didn't
day.
know. Huh?
You can eat fast food twice a day and easily be at 3 to 4,000 calories.
Oh,
If you get a
easily.
soda, you get fries, you get a burger, you get
With all the fat on it
whatever,
too.
and it shows you right on the menu, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
around 1,000 to 2,000 calories, and especially let's say you make it a large or
Or
whatever you're
double
doing. If
size,
you
what they
do
used to
that
say,
only
super
twice a
size.
day and
Yeah.
you have no other snacks, you might be like, but I don't snack. I only eat twice a day. But what are you eating twice a day?
Right.
That that makes a huge difference. You don't get a lot of volume for your calorie intake to be that high. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, you may feel like you don't eat a lot,
Yeah.
but it really does matter, not only the quality, but also the types of calories that you're consuming.
And it doesn't, you're right. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help that when you do these calculators, and again, I know there's some experts out there and they figured all this out, but then you hear a lot of talk about, the food pyramid and when it was made
Right.
and how it was made and
The
who
standard
made it.
American diet. Yes.
Right. You hear all that. So I have to believe if that's also being questioned, just like what is it, the BMI chart, it's in
Right.
question.
Right.
What about the the scientific, this is how many calories you need to have? I wonder about that because everything I ever take tells me I need thousands of calories. I'm like, I couldn't eat thousands of calories unless I went through a drive-through. Is that what you're suggesting I need to do? Go to Raising Cane's in the evening and go to McDonald's, get me a big breakfast and a large Coke. Like I could get those 2,500 calories you're saying I need, but I don't
Yeah.
understand that. Why? So I guess what I'm trying to say here is it's going to go back to what we always say. You have to be your own experiment because you and I have talked about this. You went up in your calories. You started gaining weight. Remember?
I did.
I did the same. I'm like, okay, I'm not listening because you start questioning and doubting yourself. Well, am I eating enough?
Well,
Some people
because
say, yes, all you
society is like,
eat.
it's not enough, or
I know
people
they
will
want to
judge
shout out,
you.
my toddler eats 2,000. I'm like, what?
Well, that's good for your toddler. My
Like
name's
your
Ashley. And I'm not a
toddler's all
toddler.
over the what?
My name is Ashley, and I'm not a toddler,
But
but I'm
right.
happy for you and your kids. The thing is, it's like, keep your eyes on your own plate. We say that all the time, right?
Yep, that too. Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that somebody may be not under eating, or they are under eating, or they're
Right. No,
overeating,
but
or
it's not
whatever.
for us
And
to
that's not what
say.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that has to do with that person. They have to figure out what works for them. When I listened to what everyone told me to do, it it more than didn't work.
Right.
Listen here,
Same.
it more than didn't work. So I had to learn that, like, I'm so happy for all of you that can eat brown rice and chicken. I'm glad you look amazing.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
not knocking it. When I do that diet, I slowly die inside. And then
Yeah.
I
And
eat an
then you
entire
binge.
pizza.
Yeah.
And then I drink about 10 beers. And I'm like, I hate my life. So that
Right.
didn't work for me. So why would I think that those people's opinions would matter?
Oh, that's
wait,
so good.
They
Yeah.
don't.
They don't. They don't
So
matter.
those people can do that. That's their opinion on what works for their body.
Yeah.
If that ain't you, you don't need to listen to those people.
No. And
Find your
don't.
own people. Find your
Yes.
people. They are out there. They're
Yes. We
probably
found
very
them.
similar
We
to
found
you
them.
and me, right?
Right.
Do what seems to be working for you, but you will never know unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah. You have to know what you're
That
doing
is
before
step
you can
one.
figure out what you can
can't
change.
start to make these changes, and it can seem very overwhelming, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Know what you're consuming. Step one. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Know what you're consuming. Track it. Make it simple,
And-
right?
and
don't
count-
make a lot of changes.
Wait. And
all at once.
also, if we're talking about getting real, it's another confession for me. And I think I talked about this in season 1, but it really is so true. I remember getting my Oreo out back in the day. and I wouldn't get one. I'd get like 5, and nobody saw me eat it, so it really didn't count. Like, you know what I'm saying? That sounds
Oh, so
crazy, but
I
that's how I
would be
felt.
tracking my food in my fitness pal, doing like the Atkins style. I would have like, or like Weight Watchers, I think at one point, I would have like a budget of something left. And I used to love the chocolate covered fruit from Trader Joe's.
Oh, yes, I love
And
that. The
I would be
blueberries and
like, it's
pomegranates.
7 pieces. I would pick the biggest
Of
daggone pieces
course.
and drop them in my Ziploc and be like, I'm so good. On the
Yeah.
rules. Like, girl, if you are gonna lie to yourself, why do you gotta lie to the tracker too?
Right.
Why do you gotta lie all the way?
No, you're
Just
right.
stop.
But
Just
yeah, and it makes me think of what you said earlier about the tools. It's the same thing. Like, when you realize that the tablespoon of peanut butter that you are using in the little measuring
you're
thing
real gentle with
is
that weight.
not the same as what you used on a scale, like what you weighed on a scale.
Or
And then
God forbid, put on a piece of toast.
and then and then you decide to still go, I'm still gonna go with this because this looks much better than this.
Or you're like,
then,
live your best life, and you just.
and then it's
Yes.
again goes back to, well, you're just lying to yourself
are you
because
accounting for that?
you know
Are you
that's not
accounting- right,
correct.
and you're not changing anything else in your day. Like, so you and I talk about, having balance. Having balance looks like, yeah, go ahead, have 2 tablespoons.
But put it in your tracker.
Put it in your tracker, take something else out.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
don't have to just say, well, I can't have that.
Right.
I can't
So many
have
rules.
that.
So many rules, right?
rules. You do not have to live that way.
No. You do it too.
It's
I
the
mean, don't listen
same
to the people.
Thing as making choices in
In
any part of
anything.
your life.
Any part.
Right?
Any part.
So if
yes.
you want this, you must do this. If you want that, you must do that.
Yeah.
If you
Give and
want
take. Give and take.
4 tablespoons of peanut butter,
Right.
then figure out what else you don't really care about that day.
That's it.
Or maybe you go, well, but I really do care about that. Sounds like you're having 2. It doesn't have to
and
be
then
complicated.
and then at the end of it, you cannot say, but I'm doing everything. Why aren't I losing weight? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you are having all the peanut butter plus the things that you were supposed to take out because you had the peanut butter, you did it. Now be honest with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. But
No, there's no reason for guilt.
Right.
That will get you nowhere.
Right. But you made the decision. You need to be honest with yourself, because otherwise you're going to continually stay in delusion. You're going to continuously be in denial. And I only say that because I can speak from experience, because that's exactly what I was doing, which brings me to the next. I want to say this about being real. Back years ago, for years, when I had gained the weight after having my last son. Well, actually, I gained it before I even got pregnant with him after the 2 miscarriages. Now, I've shared all that before. So my weight definitely went up before I got pregnant. And then while I was pregnant, of course, it went up even higher. And then after I had him, it stayed high for a while and it just kept going up.
Yeah, that's what happened with me too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so actually, that's, you know what? I lost it pretty quick now that I think about it, because I was sick. Remember, I was sick and I couldn't eat. Oh, you look so good. Yeah, well, I'm sick and I look terrible, but you're thin. No, I'm sick. But no, I packed it right back on once I wasn't sick anymore.
Right.
Anyway, when I did gain weight, I didn't like it. I didn't like it on me. I didn't enjoy.
It changes as you get older too, where you're carrying that weight sometimes as well.
Oh yeah, it's a totally different look, and I didn't like it. And I would look in the mirror, and I would be disgusted trying on outfits. Now I'm talking about myself. I'm only talking about me, looking at me, talking about me. I'm not talking about anybody else. For me, I didn't like that much weight on my frame.
Or anyone else's opinion. Just
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
care. Yeah.
No one else's opinion.
Have your own about you. This is about me. Right, exactly, Ashley. So I would go to the fitting rooms and I would grab a stack of clothes, and I'd be so excited to try someone, thinking, oh, maybe this time I'll find something I really like on me. And it might even be my size, but it just didn't hang right and I didn't like it. And I would leave the dressing room so discouraged all the time. I'd come home and guess who I complained to? My husband. And I would tell him, oh, I just need to lose weight. If I lost weight, maybe I'd like the way clothes fit on me again. And he would just say, well, babe, do whatever you need to do. You're beautiful. Because he will always think I'm beautiful no matter what. But I didn't think I was beautiful. I didn't like it.
You
I
didn't feel
just didn't
beautiful,
like, I
right?
did not
Yeah.
feel beautiful.
Yeah.
Because here's the reality. Nobody can make me feel, if my husband could make me feel beautiful, he would
You
have
would,
already done it.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
You'd
Like,
be good.
because
Like,
I'd be fine. Like if I could,
since
if
the
I
very
live my
beginning of time.
life, right? If I live my life based on everybody's opinion, including my husband, I would have been, oh my gosh, I would be a princess if I am a queen if I base my life on what my husband thinks. But you know what? I have an opinion about myself. And that's actually the one that really matters, right?
That's the one that matters the most.
That's the one.
The relationship with you have with your body and
Right.
yourself is the only thing that
Exactly.
matters. Yeah.
And if I'm not having a good relationship, here's the dynamic. I was not having a good relationship with myself. I was all the time just not happy with my body. And I would say it out loud. God, I'm so fat and oh, I just don't look good and things like that. And my husband would say, babe, please don't talk about yourself like that. Please don't talk about you're talking about my wife. That's what he used to tell me. And I'm like, I never think about that. He goes, yeah, but you're talking about somebody I love. And I'm like, I know, but it's me. He's like, yeah, but it's sad. And I don't like it. I don't like seeing you like that. So how husbands,
Yeah.
they're sweet. But the truth is, I didn't feel good about myself. So guess what? I didn't want to be intimate. I did it, but I wasn't comfortable.
Right.
I didn't feel sexy.
You're just in your head and you're
Totally.
thinking about all like, okay, well, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to move here, or well, if I stay on this, if I'm over here,
right. If I lay
then
like this, it'll
then you
look
can't
better.
see that, or
Turn
I'll
the
feel
light
better
off
about
just a little bit.
no light.
Absolutely,
Like, yeah.
absolutely.
I
And of
understand
course,
that the insecurity in that situation, it makes you feel even worse, which I think makes everything worse.
yeah,
Because we tend to shy away from those activities and they're important. We
right.
tend to
Well, we
away
have a
from
headache.
yeah, well, and not
Tired.
only that, but that's how we start saying no to all the other things in our life too. It
Well, yeah,
starts like somewhere like that and it ripples through your life.
yeah.
Next thing you know, you've sidelined the last year,
Right,
including your family and your husband,
right,
because you're not comfortable with you.
right.
And that is the part that is the worst, that makes you feel the worst.
Defeated. I felt defeated, and I felt like I don't know. I
You didn't feel attractive.
I didn't feel attractive.
I didn't feel attractive. I
didn't want to go buy pretty clothes.
To sleep with me. I didn't understand why.
Oh,
You,
we told y'all we're getting real, okay? So
right.
we are talking about that.
Yeah, I didn't know, why my husband would be attracted to me because I didn't feel attractive. And okay,
Right.
so he did, but was it pity or was it like transactional? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like
It's like, 'cause
those
he's just
are
a
the things
man
that
and he
you
doesn't
say
really
to
give a
yourself
care.
right.
Right.
And those are the things you say to yourself because your worth is so low
Yeah.
and you're feeling so defeated and you are not showing up for yourself.
Yeah.
So you can't possibly think how somebody else would want to be here either.
Right.
And that's a dark place to be. And I've been there. Like I can
And
raise my hand
it's a
like,
personal thing. Because some will
it's
tell you,
very
I'm going to tell you
personal. And
right
some
now.
people don't even talk about it. And that's why we're
I
talking.
know, but I'm going to tell you right now
That's normal.
what someone would say back to what you just said. They'd say, well, you shouldn't be finding your worth in your body anyway. That's what they'll tell you. You shouldn't find your worth in your size. That's what they'll tell you. But
For
here's the
sure.
thing. I'm not you, girl. I'm me. And
But it wasn't
I
about
didn't
that.
I didn't feel,
It came from a feeling. I didn't look at my body and say, wow.
oh, you're a waste of life. Die.
You're-
No, not
yeah,
like that.
I didn't look at my body and think like, I hate everything about you. I didn't like myself. But what I have found is it had more to do with how I was feeling here in my mind about myself. It
Yeah.
really, when I look back, it really had nothing to do with my body. It had a lot to do with my self-esteem because I was in depression and anxiety was
Yeah.
high. And the result of the anxiety and the depression were making me make choices for my food.
Right. Which was in turn causing you to gain
so
more
it
weight.
was causing me to gain more weight.
That beautiful
And so
cycle.
it really had more to do with how I felt because we've talked about this. And now my body has even more flaws than it did when I was just heavy. When I was just heavy, I was just heavy. I was big, or that's how I felt that I was big, right? Size is relative. Now things are saggy. Things are in different places. Things are feeling different. I
Yeah.
have new insecurities. I
Yeah.
have, but you know what? I don't care about them anymore
Yeah. I know. I hear you. I'm the
because my
same.
mind is right, because my
Yeah.
food is right, my
And you
mind
feel
is right.
good. You
I
feel
feel good.
good.
It doesn't matter. This is just a vessel. Like this is what's left here, but what's in my heart and what's in my mind is 100% everything.
Yeah.
The
But
body is the thing that keeps us here, and I want it to function well,
right.
but it doesn't have to be perfect. And in my mind before,
No.
it had to
Right.
be perfect in order
Right.
for me to be happy.
I literally just did a post where I finally came to the conclusion that I am happy in this body. Now, is this body perfect? No. Is it what I imagined that I wanted all these years? Because here's what I had a revelation. I saw the picture that was from when I was 26, and it was when my firstborn was 1 year old. It was his birthday party. And I was looking at that picture and I was like, oh, wow. I'm sorry, back up. The day before, I had seen myself in the mirror and thought, you know what? I don't know what weight I need to be, but honey, you looking good. Like that's how I felt. I'm like,
Yeah.
you still have a hanging over little mom pooch belly. You still have all your cellulite. You still have the stretch marks, and you
Oh
still
yeah, I
ain't.
have all that.
You're still not what you imagine. But you know what? Maybe what you imagine isn't what you're supposed to be. How about you just embrace the body you have? And how about realize you look good? And that's how I
You do
felt.
look
But then
good.
when I
And
looked
you're
at
strong and you're able and
right, and I
you're
feel
right
so
and you
healthy.
feel
But
good.
when I looked at that picture the next day when I was trying to do like a transformation Tuesday or something, I was like, wow. I have had the ideal body in my head since then. I was 26. I am
Yeah.
48 in a few days. That is a long time to have this ideal body, which by the way was the, this is so embarrassing. The not really. I don't. The woman, the woman's body that I have always just thought was gorgeous, just perfect. In my head, it was the ideal body. You know, because we get shown the
Mm-hmm.
ideal body, the ideal face, the ideal nose.
Yeah.
It's all such bull. But anyway, it was Elle McPherson. Do you remember her?
Yeah.
Oh, 6'1". I'm
So
5 foot
tall.
3.5 if I'm standing up straight, maybe
That's
5'4".
so
But
funny.
but that was my head. Like, oh wow, I want those broad shoulders and that tiny cinched waist and that flat
Barbie
stomach and the
look.
little butt. Like
Yeah.
I wanted like all her athletic but thin and lean. And I was like, that's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I always had in my head until I finally realized I'm telling you, this just happened. I went, stop chasing that body. What are you doing? And I didn't even.
It's just you fall in love with something and what you
And
think
it's
is
just
the
in your
standard of
head.
beauty that
Yes,
you've decided.
that was
and
my
you want
standard.
to
Exactly.
live up to that. And so it's like, okay, well, what if you find a new standard?
Which is what I'm telling you. This was such a huge
Yeah.
shift for me because looking at that picture, I'm telling you, I was like, I cannot flip and believe I have been living in this la la land that one day, if I try and want it hard enough, I could look like Elle McPherson. I mean, come on.
But you know what's really funny is in that same like you're saying, like I used to say like, oh, well, I don't want to be muscular or like I don't want you to be able to like see. And I don't know if this was because I didn't ever think I would be able to do it. Like I'd
Uh-huh.
never be thin enough for my muscles to even show, or if it was coming from a place of like I was just afraid to look muscular and maybe work that hard, or I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I am finding that like I am getting like a little bit of muscles popping up here and there,
And you're
new
loving it.
and I'm like,
Girl.
and now I see like I in my mind I was like that's gross, like not that that's gross, but like oh that's kind of masculine. It's very
Yeah.
masculine to be
Yeah.
very strong and like, and don't get me wrong, I still feel like there's a point for me that I would not
Right. Totally.
want
You have a right
to,
to your opinion. Yeah.
I would personally, I see some of these women, I'm like, wow, you pull that off. Personally, I wouldn't want to be
Right.
I wouldn't want to look a certain way or
You
be
don't want the
certainly
V.
muscular, but
You don't want a
no,
V.
no,
You want the
but
hourglass.
exactly.
Right. But with some muscles and strong.
But I always wanted to be thin.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be athletic even.
Isn't
Like
that something?
real. I just wanted to be skinny. And I used to say, I just want to be skinny. I just wish I was skinny. If I was skinny, oh, my whole life would be better. And I've said this before.
Well,
But
wait,
I
hold on one
realized
second. You're 31, right?
32.
32. You turned 32. See, you grew up in a generation where, and when you were a teenager, what
in the
was really
90s.
big was the
Yeah.
waif. It was the
Real
that
thin.
girl, I can't
Real
remember her name. She was a
straight
lawyer.
hair, real thin.
Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, they were all so
Yes.
bone thin.
Tiny.
So that in your head was the ideal. For me, Elle Macpherson, the whole supermodels of the late 80s and the
Yes.
early 90s,
Yes.
that was like Cindy Crawford. Like they
Oh
had
yeah.
the
I
bodies.
mean, I've always
Naomi
thought,
Campbell, I
yeah,
was like, oh,
yeah,
yeah,
they were, I mean, they are beautiful.
6 foot, six
Yeah,
foot, gorgeous. What do you call those big, tall
exactly.
women? Like Wonder
It,
Woman. She's
like Amazon,
a yeah, it's an Amazon woman. I think is that what it's called? I don't remember, but it's
yeah,
just I loved that. Isn't
yeah,
that funny though? That it is. It's
yeah.
what
It's what you
society is
decide
dictating as the ideal body at the time, and then it can get stuck in your head to think that's
as
what you
your
want
truth
until
when
you
it's not.
change. Huh?
Yeah, as your truth, and it's not. It's just an
Isn't it
idea that you
something?
had. But
Look, talk about getting real. Stop lying to yourself. Like we're figuring
right,
this out
and
as we
also
go.
follow some people that you think are really good looking that maybe don't fit that idea of you, of your like perfect body standard, right?
Hmm.
Like maybe, you look at some people that are just maybe more, close to your body style, or you
Yeah,
know what I'm
that would
saying?
be
Like
more
you put off
realistic
some
to.
weight and you're like, wow, like they look really good. So if that's the case and you're very similar, then you look really good, or you can look that way, or what, like
Right, it's
just
more
paint
realistic.
the
Yeah,
narrative of what that
it's
looks like, because
inspiration.
it is. And it also it changes the choices you make, because you're not chasing something that you can never attain, but you're also not setting yourself up for being so disappointed when you can't live up to that standard.
Yeah, you're setting
And it's
yourself up for that, right?
way more realistic to say, hey, I want to look, I imagine myself 30 pounds lighter. This is probably what I'm going to look like. This person looks similar to me. Like, I think she
Yeah.
looks amazing. So, you know
That
what
can
I'm saying?
help
Like,
your
that
mindset
can
and your
help your mindset.
and your security
And
levels. Yeah,
right. And
absolutely.
also keep you driving to lose weight in a way that doesn't keep you in a state of like, I've got to be skinny, I've got to be whatever,
Right,
whatever
right.
the standard that you've set that is usually too high.
It
Usually we set our
right.
standards so high and we are so hard on ourselves, and that's why we fail before we ever even really
Right.
see results. Yeah. Find a new image in your mind. Don't attach it to someone else like that's not attainable. Find
Yeah.
something that's like you think is beautiful, that's maybe closer to where you
Yeah.
are, or whatever.
I mean, the
Just
title is
create a
Let's
new
Get
idea.
Yeah, the title is Let's Get Real. So this is
Yeah.
a good part of that. I think that's a great idea to find someone that's more ideal, so to speak, with your. I have seen something. I want to say this. I have seen something. I really appreciate this. I'm seeing like the little trend of it. I don't know if it's on TikTok or Instagram or both, but where a young girl will stand and say, "This is my body. I'm whatever pounds, and I look like this." And what they're trying to do is show everyone that we all are different. And so if she
Yeah.
weighs 150 and looks like that, and she weighs 150 and looks like that, and they look completely different, one of them's not lying. They're just two different people. So we hold
Yeah.
things differently. So it's not even about finding someone that weighs the same as you or whatever. But like Ashley said, the
Maybe a similar
if you're
body
looking for
type,
some
or
type of
yeah.
right, some inspiration,
Yeah.
because that's what you're looking for. You're not wanting to be somebody else or
No,
try to. But
right.
let's
No.
be honest. We all let's be real. Let's stop lying. No, let's get real. We all no. I don't like ever to say we all, but so many of us do have this ideal body in our head. I've had plenty of conversations on DMs about this.
Oh yeah.
And people have told me their ideal body type and who the actress or model or whoever it is,
Yeah.
and they've struggled with it. I've had, like I said, I've had these conversations, but I think it is realistic to find someone that is more similar to your body style, your height, your, things
Or
like
maybe
that.
even yourself just a few years ago. Or
Now I
maybe
have seen
even,
that too, being that is
where you're
your,
like, wow, I didn't think that this was, I wanted to be less than this because I had this idea in my mind of this
that I should have been
supermodel.
this,
But
right.
honestly, look at
This
me
was
there.
great.
I
Right.
look
That's a great
great.
idea. That's a great
That
idea.
is probably one of the best things, is to actually go back and say, I really loved me then and didn't know it. And you know what? Strive to be there again and
Yeah.
appreciate it.
But not when you were 16. Okay. Let's be real. That was a thing, like high school
Yeah.
skinny. No, 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 no,
Not like
honey.
that. Just,
You're not
you know,
16
as an
anymore.
adult and in a healthy weight,
Got to be
but
realistic.
at a time where you thought you were, you know, heavier than you wanted to be, and you still had that idea stuck in your head of being skinny or being whatever
Yeah,
you wanted to
whatever
be.
the ideal body style and all that you
But
wanted.
when you actually go back and you say, you know what,
Wasn't
I
that
felt really good
bad?
here and I
Yeah.
didn't even realize it. Go
Gosh.
be that, let that be your motivation now. And, you know, get there, strive to get there, and then appreciate it like you
Yeah,
didn't
that's
before.
good. Yeah, that's really good. That's a really good exercise. That is a, you know what, that I love that more than anything. I love that more than finding someone in the same
Because, like, don't
body
you look at
style.
pictures sometime and be like, why didn't you
I'm
love
like,
you? You were
girl, why did I
perfect
think I was
then.
so
Why did
fat?
I
Look.
hate that? Why did, yeah. And I, you know what? It makes me feel sad for me because at
Yeah,
that point, I didn't have, I wanted to be less.
you were still
And I
looking
didn't need
for.
to
Yeah,
be because I had an idea in my mind of,
yeah.
oh, I needed to be like so
We
and
can
so, or I
trick
needed to be
ourselves quite often.
right. So, you know, that is something that I think is super important.
Yeah,
And it's okay to go back. Sometimes living, you know, visiting your past
can help you move
doesn't always
forward.
have to be a bad thing.
Yeah, totally. Because they say that if you look back, see how far you've come, and you can look back as
Exactly.
well and say, you know what, like you're saying, that why did I
Maybe you
think
can
that?
write
Maybe
some of
this.
those, you know, bad places that we started this whole situation of body image problems from that point and
Yeah,
right
that's a
your
good idea.
wrongs and change your future.
Just
And then when you
completely change
actually
it.
get there, appreciate it.
Yeah, and then
And I'm
move
still
forward.
working on that. I'm still
Yeah,
working on that even now. And you know what? I am really proud of where I am. And
yeah,
this body is strong and capable and amazing. It's really
yeah.
amazing. And I'm proud of that.
And
And it
that you
doesn't have to
should
be any
be.
more or less than, you know,
Right. Totally. The body neutral. It's body neutral.
body neutral.
Well, on that note, we shall end this, and we're going to thank y'all for joining us as usual. And we hope that you got something out of this. I know I've enjoyed this one. This is a good topic, I
Yeah,
think,
it's a
because
good
we
feel
got to get
good,
real.
but real and honest. And, you know, sometimes you got to give yourself the cut the crap,
Yeah.
little pep talk. I know I
Yes.
do.
I do too, girl. All right, y'all. We're going to see y'all next time.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye. We said it together. Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. You can find and connect with us over on Instagram at More Than Just Keto. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss out on the fun. We'll see you next time.